ladies and gentlemen, Panzer here, and welcome back to Transport Fever. And in the last episode, we were talking about upgrading some of the lines, and we finally got a plane in the air. Now, the plane itself, well, let's just say it's not making any money right now. But hopefully it will start making some profit. But in the meantime, we have some new additions, some new lines, in fact. So, in the last episode, we were talking about possibly doing something with the crude oil line that's over here, and adding something to do with the oil. When we have refined oil right here, it's not going anywhere, we're only taking the fuel. So what I've thought of doing is I've added a new addition to the line here. I still need to finish putting in some bypasses, because of course otherwise the trains are going to get stuck trying to get past each other. So that needs doing right there. But what this is going to do is supply oil to this plastics factory right here. And that's going to allow them... Let me just skip through all of these traffic signals. And let's just grab the simplest one and put it here. And another one over here. And that should be good. So that's going to be a one-way and a one-way as well. And that's a bypass between those two. So the oil is going to get dropped off here. I've already set up a truck line to bring the plastics all the way through Daventry, right here, to the goods factory up here. But this is not a complete line just yet, and we're not getting any oil or plastics through there just yet. So what's actually missing? Well, we need planks. And that's the tricky one. Where are the planks going to come from? So I've had a look at this, and we might actually need a new train line. So over here, let's just have a look at the contours for now. We have a line straight through this little valley right here, all the way through to this sawmill. And we have a forest up here, which is where we can take the wood from. So it seems like a decent length for a train journey already. The only thing is, that's going to take a bit of time to establish, but also it's going to take a lot of money. Now, we have some more money left in the bank. I have sped the game up and just let it sort of earn money a bit. So we're now at the end of 1966, and I'm going to start putting together this train line right here. Now, I do want to leave this a little bit open so that we can have a straight through. And that will allow us to hopefully be able to take the goods by rail somewhere else as well. So let's get this train line going. So the main thing is we're aiming for this little valley right here. So it's going to be a little bit of uphill, but hopefully we can avoid the worst of it by just sticking to this side slope over here. And that will bring us all the way across like so. And I think just a little bit more that away. Try to keep the speed up as much as possible, because the trains are already going to struggle a little bit trying to go along these slopes, and I definitely don't want them to suffer any more than they need to. So let's just put this train station right here, and we connect that up by road, like so. And that looks pretty good so far, no dramas at all. And the forest that we're aiming for is right here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a terminal station here. And the reason is I don't really see any reason not to. It just fits that sort of shape of this area quite nicely. And I think we could just leave a little bit of space in case we need to expand it. But for the most part, I don't think that's going to be an issue. And for now, I think we're going to start this off with just one train on the line. I think that's probably the better way of doing it. So let's just head out this way. I'm going to drag this out over here and connect it up. Getting quite good at this whole track building thing, you know, avoiding any sharp turns and that. It has become quite a lot easier lately. So we're going to need the train depot, and that's probably going to be best just around here. I do like to leave a bit of a gap so that we can just connect it up more easily without too sharp a turn, and that it doesn't get in the way later on. So that looks like it's connected up right there. And there we go, there's a working track ready for us now. So let's have a look here. Gonna grab the wood, go into the sawmill and get the planks, and then head on straight to the goods factory. And that's the overall plan there. So this will be Daventry wood / planks. So it's going to be doing two things at once. Now, of course, the choice of train and locomotive is very important. We do want fairly high capacity. And a lot of you guys have said, hey, why don't you try using steam trains? And that is quite possible in this particular scenario. We do have a couple of options for steam trains. This one here only costs 200,000 a year to run, and it does 90 kilometers an hour, so it's not too different from these diesel trains that we've been using, and these actually cost a little bit more. So I could actually run one of these. The only thing is its power is not particularly brilliant, and there is going to be a little bit of uphill and downhill. Alternatively, I could run this one, the Class A4, which is a lot faster and has a lot more power, but it is going to suffer from having much higher running costs. So that's another tricky thing to work with here. We could also look at electric trains with this crocodile right here. This is an electric train that has about 1600 horsepower, and it costs about 400,000 a year to run, which is quite a lot compared to the diesel train. And this honestly seems like the better one. I do have a bunch of other trains as well added by the mods. We have the British Rail Class 37 and 47 as well. So these are another possibility here. We have them in a lot of different liveries as well. So these are going to be freight lines. We also have a couple of Czech trains and Russian trains. And I think these are overall kind of where we're looking at right now. So a lot of possibilities here overall. But I do wonder if all of this might be a little bit too expensive for what it is. Now, wooden planks do actually make a fair amount of money, and the distance between the forest and the sawmill is not very long. So we don't need something that's overly fast. We just need it to carry a lot of cargo, because I do want it to have at least 6 plank cars, or state cars. So let's get the state cars out here. So these are going to have a capacity of 13. So let's get these going. They do have a top speed of 160. So no matter where we go with these, I only have enough in the bank right now for 4. And then we're going to have to worry about the locomotive. So I may have to take out a loan to get this going. But I think this will be profitable pretty quickly. Alright, and here it is. This is the train that I've settled on. This is the British Rail Class 47. And it's in the rail freight liveries, which is another mod that I have installed. It is actually quite a good looking train. Now this is more expensive, and it is going to be limited by the speed of the track. This train has a top speed of 153, but our tracks will limit it to 120, so I may actually upgrade these to high speed rails very, very quickly. But overall, because of the distance and because of how much it has to carry, I think that overall this is going to be the better option. You can see right now it's already accelerated up to 65, and very soon it will hit its top speed. So we're going to let this train run and see how it gets along. Alright, so here's something that I should have known and predicted. The plastics station here is actually loading up on fuel too, and quite a fair amount of it very quickly. And since trucks can only carry one type of cargo at a time, this means that these trucks are actually going to be hauling fuel all the way to the goods factory first. So I've added the station in Daventry in the midpoint so they can drop the fuel off. But of course that means that it's going to be a bit of a problem with mixing up the lines. So I don't know if I want to split this into 2 lines now. Because, of course, that would mean that it takes the fuel there, drops it off, and then goes there to the goods factory empty. And that's a bit of a problem. I don't really want it to be doing that. So I may end up having to specialize these. Alternatively, could make an entirely separate line and have that run the fuel instead. So I think that's actually probably a better option. I'm going to remove this station here and just have it run all the way to the goods factory, and we're going to set up a new line. So this is going to run only fuel, between Carnforth West and Daventry. So this will be the Daventry fuel line. Because, of course, I think we are producing more than enough for most areas, and since the train is going to drop it off here anyway, we might as well just do that. So this won't need too many trucks to begin with, because it is quite a short distance compared to what we normally do. And, of course, I could even have another one going out here to Carnforth. It is just across the water, after all. I don't want to impede the movement of the ferry, so it will be a high bridge, but that's also another possibility. So I think that's what we can actually do. There's a lot of money here that isn't being used at all. So let's just have a look at where the industrial sector is. It is quite nicely just here. So I could just place this right on the edge of town and have that run there. And we're going to bring this across. We don't want a road that looks like that. So let's just bring this out like so. And of course we're going to raise that bridge as much as possible so that it doesn't get in the way of that ferry. Yeah, that seems pretty good. It could even raise it a little bit more, but it is a lot of money. So yeah, that's definitely a lot of money. So that's going to go all the way there, no issues whatsoever. So let's get that going. So this will now be our Carnforth fuel line as well. I may end up having to make this truck station bigger, but good thing we have the space for it. And it does look like the oil refinery has finally figured out that oil is actually being moved around as well. So this is starting to move a fair amount now too. We may even need to add more trains to the line because, wow, that's a lot of crude oil that's stacking up there now. So this is all going to need upgrading. I think what we may end up doing is instead of adding more trains to the line, we're going to start making these trains longer. So they currently have 4 cars each, and that's sort of the standard for each one of these trains. But I may end up adding another 2 to each one. And that is going to up their capacity by 30 each. So these now have a capacity of 60, and they're pretty much full up when it comes to crude oil. That is going to increase them up to 90 each, which means if we do this across the board for the entire line, then that's going to equal a capacity of, let's see, I can't do maths, is what I'm figuring out here. But yes, without adding another train, we effectively have the increased capacity of extra trains. Now, the frequency will stay the same, but then it is a freight line, so it's not going to be too much of an issue. And these traffic jams that we're seeing right now will be mostly alleviated if we can do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this train get to the... I'm going to let both of these trains deliver their fuel, and then I'm going to upgrade them immediately. So they're not going to pick up any crude oil on this run yet, but they are definitely going to be able to carry more. And overall, our most profitable line, I mean, looking at it, $5 million, you know, by far our most profitable, is going to go up even further. I just hope that these oil wells can then keep up with the capacity, because that is going to be something. But eventually going to a double rail or double track layout may end up being the way to go. Because the way I see it, with 4 trains currently on the track, we're already having traffic problems. If we go to a double track, then we might actually alleviate that problem somewhat if we start going to 6 or more trains. But that's a problem for later on, I think. So right now I'm just going to sort this capacity issue out, and hopefully that oil well up there gets the attention it deserves. Alright, here we are. So these are the upgraded trains now with more tank wagons on them and able to take 90 crude oil. Now, of course, that means this train is too full to take anything from the other oil well, hence why this is happening in the first place. But the way I see it, it's better to have more than not enough. But of course, I think this will end up downgrading if it's not able to produce any more, because that is quite full up. Like, that is very, very full up, and I don't see how else we can make that move without separating the lines entirely. So that is a bit of a problem. Not gonna lie, it is a bit of a problem. Of course, the oil refinery is demanding more crude oil, so I wonder if it's worthwhile putting a road line as well, just to kind of alleviate the stress on this oil well here. It is starting to, you know, be at breaking point pretty much right now. Alright, so in an effort to alleviate the problems that we're facing with this oil well here, I've set up a new road line. Now, it's very, very, very long. It's quite insanely long, actually, and I'm going to add more trucks to this because, frankly, we really, really need them right now. We need a lot of trucks. Now, I realize this is probably not the most efficient way of doing it, but it's just an effort to kind of keep the production of that oil well up. You might be thinking, oh, wasn't it a problem to have these two oil wells connected to the same train line? Yes, it actually was. But that's something I wanted to do, and I'm going to stick with it. So, yeah. This is the last train that's left unupgraded. So far, the capacity of this line is now quite significantly larger, with most of the trains now carrying a total of 90 units. It's not producing as much fuel as it was before, but it can now produce enough oil to get this plastics factory going. We are definitely going to need it to ship more plastic, though. So I might add a couple more trucks to this, just to keep things moving along. The main problem is there really isn't very many other places to bring any of this stuff. Now, this machines factory over here is another possibility, but getting wood there is going to be a bit trickier because we're going to have to bring it from this line all the way across again. So let's check back in. Just talking about wood at the moment. Check back in, see how this train is getting along. Now, it is costing a fair amount to run, and it's not really bringing it in yet. Not really. But I feel like it will get there. We are having about 20 wood, or lumber, coming across. This is going to upgrade very soon as well. It is very close to its production capacity. And the sawmill is getting close to it as well. It just needs more planks movements. So I think we're going to be okay. Goods production down here seems to be going alright. We just need it to move more goods. So hopefully that does happen. These trucks definitely do carry some goods as well. The only problem is they are carrying fuel as well, and that seems to be a bit of a wasted trip, I feel. So it's something that I don't think I can really do much about, though, unfortunately. Without specializing them, of course. So what I could end up doing is, instead of just pouring the trucks all into this one line, we'll organize it such that the goods are on one line separately, and this is just plastics movement. But that would also neglect the fuel too, so that is another problem anyway. It's not really going to solve that problem, unfortunately, so I don't really think there is much more we can really do with that. Ultimately, this oil refinery here is just going to keep pumping out more oil and fuel, and I don't think I really want to change that all that much. It does seem like it's probably for the best. It's just kind of occurred to me that this is the only point where these trains are actually ever empty. It's between these two stations right here, and it is quite a short distance, so it's probably the most utilized trains in this entire game so far, which is quite surprising. But as the newest and proudest addition to our transport company family, the British Rail Class 47 departs the station with nearly a full load of lumber now. I'm going to leave this one here. This has been a very, very productive episode, and I feel like we've achieved quite a lot of things, and the company is really turning over quite a lot of money now. And hopefully it continues doing that into the very near future. But if you're enjoying this series, don't forget to leave a like and comment down below if you have any suggestions, questions, or if you're just simply enjoying the series and want to let me know. Also, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. My name is Panzer. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.